us because everything's set. So can you go to the last slide? So I don't want to slides.
The last two slides,
Slide number 52.
52, you got it.
Oh, okay, that's a leftover from before, so. Well, first, I think we should recognize that we created this mess, and we need to change the way we make chemicals, make materials, put them out there in order to find out 20, 30 years later that they can cause harm, and then we go and clean the mess. This is not a smart thing to do for our society, and we need to move into more sustainable practices. So, well, I think everything on this slide, one way or the other, we outlined earlier. The 3R waste hierarchy, I think, should be embraced by all of us as much as we can. We really need to reduce the use, reuse, and recycle. Now, the big issue is the single-use plastics, which they will end up in the municipal waste plants, and from there, either they will be in landfills or incinerated. So, can we substitute these single-use plastics if we cannot get rid of them to get all together with something which is biodegradable and not toxic? And that's an area that we also, as researchers, we need to contribute. And also the additives, because it's not just to think about the plastics, you need to think of all these additives that they are in the plastics, the phthalates and the plasticizers in general, and we know that they are really, really bad. So we need to redesign our plastics and reconsider the additives and substitute them probably with something which is non-toxic. What you see here is this is a project I had funded by USDA in Singapore. We are extracting biopolymers from food waste. Developed the technologies to do that. And we had a specific project of making non-toxic biopolymer-based food packaging materials. So what you would see there is a paper we published in Nature last year. This is the first water-soluble plastic material that we make out of biopolymer. What you see in the avocado there, you know, you buy all these fruits in stores that are wrapped in plastic materials. In this particular case, we wrap them with these biopolymers. These fibers, we also infuse them with antimicrobials, which are nature-derived as well. So that way, we can also kill two birds with one stone. We can increase food safety, extend shelf life. We had an industrial partner actually who wanted to export avocados in China from Mexico, and it's a long way to send them there. So he was losing 50–60% of avocados by the time they arrived there. And also he didn't want to use plastics, petroleum-based plastics. So he came to us and he gave us a seed funding to focus on this. Yeah, I mean, there is a paper there if you want to read more details. Now the other element, which is also very important, is we need better monitoring and reporting. And that has to start from our neighborhoods, from the local communities. Of course, we need to know what's happening in global scale, but there are a lot of disparities even at local level, but also at global level. So it's the so-called South, which is the low-income countries versus the Western countries, the high-income countries, which are also completely different in terms of the way they manage or not manage efficiently plastic. So that's also very important, education and training, specific for certain groups, especially the groups that they use a lot of single-use plastics. Last year we had a very successful event at McGill, focusing on farmers in agriculture, because there's a lot of materials used in agriculture. They're single-use and they rarely recycle anything, and that's kind of contact with the food, and that's a low-hanging fruit actually to educate that group. Even give them incentives, because that's the other thing. We need to give certain groups incentives to move to more sustainable uses of plastic. So now, again, at the global level, there is probably you heard this effort that United Nations Environment Assembly already put in place. They're thinking that they can put a legally binding treaty similar to the Paris Agreement for Climate, for plastics, and the goal is to reduce the production. Because we can reduce use and reuse and recycle, but I think we really need to also reduce the production. And I believe that bottom up, all of us, if we can reduce our use, that will happen, rather than relying that all countries of the world, they're gonna put something legally binding there, and they will force the industry to reduce production by 20%. That's the goal. It's moving along, we'll see what happens, but I'm also very encouraged for what I've seen here in New Jersey. I think at least Senator Bob is on board, and from what I've seen from the panel here, there is a movement to implement at local level policies that they will help also reducing the use. So, I mean, again, I think we can fix the plastic crisis. I mean, we fix serious environmental problems like air pollution and water pollution, and we know how to do it. It's a matter of deciding as a society that this has to happen. So again, thank you all for coming here today, and we hope we'll find ways to work together, and we need your help. And we need to learn how to communicate also more effectively as scientists and messages of our research to the communities. And I have to say, we are not trained that way. I mean, we're trained in a different way, like communicating risks. The actual risk is very important. Okay, thank you.
Come back up.